why do I do a podcast? Because a lot of times people don't want to hear me talk about movies as much as I do. And you do. Right now, I'm inside your ears, and I love that you're listening. Thank you if it's your first time, thank you. If you're a long-time listener, thank you even more. Go to bnsaboutmovies.com, bnsaboutmovies@gmail.com, ko-fi.com/bnsaboutmovies. Okay, there's all the plugs out of the way. But I was thinking about something today. I don't know if you know, I don't know how much you know about the Church of Satan. Let's talk about it. They disappeared for a while. And by them, I mean Anton LaVey disappeared. His daughter, Zena, did the PR for the longest time. But there's this whole, pretty much like, I always consider the Church of Satan just to be LaVey. I know other people are involved. But like, until his death, now there's different people that run it. But it seems like people always had falling outs with them. Michael Aquino had falling outs with them. Zena eventually did. Everybody kind of goes to the Temple of Set afterwards or gets into other stuff while LaVey keeps doing things. And he had disappeared for a long time. During the Satanic Panic, his daughter was like, we need to tell people that this isn't us, that we don't do human sacrifices. And he's like, I don't really care. I don't want to talk to humanity. And then at some point, he decided to get back into it. Maybe it was all the rock stars that started liking him, like Marilyn Manson. Maybe it was the fact that he could always have a bunch of Hot Topic girls just kind of come over and fawn all over him. And here's the thing. A lot of people are like, well, Anton LaVey was a liar and he was a carny and he made up stuff. Good. He should. That's awesome. Like, invent your own life. That's my advice to you. Fake it till you make it. Invent your own life. The life he made up, it's awesome, right? Because like anyone can say I slept with Marilyn Monroe. But how many people would be like, I slept with Marilyn Monroe and Jane Mansfield, and I cut a newspaper and I accidentally cut off Jane Mansfield's head, even though she didn't really lose her head in Iraq. That's, people think she did. She didn't. But anyways, I tell you all this to tell you this is the thing that I'm really thinking about. And this will tie into the episode, I swear to you. Back in 88, when LaVey kind of came back out and said stuff like, in recent years, we wasted far too much time explaining Satan has nothing to do with kidnapping, drug abuse, child molestation, and or child sacrifice, or any number of acts that idiots, hysterics, or opportunists would like to credit us with. It's a life-loving, rational philosophy that millions of people adhere to. Don't know about millions. Now, at this point in 88, the 5-point program, the Pentagonal revisionism, comes in. And basically, number one, stratification, no more equality, mediocrity, let's get rid of it. Water has to seek its own level. No one should be protected from the effects of their own stupidity. Strict taxation on all churches. No tolerance for religious beliefs. Secularized, incorporated into law and order issues. God, the opportunity for anyone to live within a total environment of his or her own choice, with mandatory adherence to the aesthetic and behavioral standards of same, privately owned, operating controlled environments as an alternative to homogenized and polyglot ones. The freedom to insulate yourself within a social mode of personal well-being. An opportunity to feel, see, and hear what is most aesthetically pleasing without interference from anyone who would pollute or distract from that option. 100% I believe in that. I'm in a movie, in a basement right now, surrounded by movies, surrounded by walls of movies, posters, and I'm looking across the room. I see Peter Cushing's face. It's like Romper Room. I see a Jess Franco VHS that my buddy gave me, and it feels good. This is my safe place, my happy place. Finally, here's why I'm telling you this story. LaVey believed in the development and production of artificial human companions, a forbidden industry. Everyone will have power over someone else. Polite, sophisticated, technologically feasible slavery through androids. We have not found this. Yeah, people tried the real doll. It doesn't really work. It's gross. It's gross. It doesn't look real. It looks like a dead body. You have to clean it. It's just a lot, right? But AI and AI bots that can talk to you like human beings, this is a big thing. This is actually a huge industry. And just me telling you about it means that you're going to get a whole bunch of messages. And this is my new thing. I like to talk about stuff for long periods of time. And then it comes up. I'm going to talk about sconces for the rest of this episode. And your phone is going to give you a ton of ads for sconces, wall sconces, and maybe like bathroom soaps. Maybe those are the two things we'll talk about in this episode. You will get tons of ads, and I apologize. Anyway, I think if Anton LaVey had lived and he was around today, so is it better sometimes that people that you like for their weirdness and individuality, that they're not around for the world that we live in now, because I worry that he would see the leader of our country as a staunch individualist that does his own thing and lives up to some satanic principles. Now, I say this, and the Church of Satan has famously been anti-political. They don't get involved in politics. They don't talk about who they're voting for. When people bring up the satanic nature of different candidates, they are very outspoken. Their Twitter account's amazing. But as I said before, the church was LaVey. And if he changed his mind on that, the fact that Art Bell was talking about how great Trump was before he died kind of upsets me. So the people that give you form of weird ideas and that you go down rabbit holes reading about as a kid, when you get to be an adult, it's like a lot of metal dudes and wrestling dudes. Like when they get older, they get like real weird right-wingy. It's weird, right? Like Alice Cooper, super right-wing, and like anti-trans, which is weird too, right? It's super weird. Anyway, I think Anton LaVey would love AI, but AI is based on stealing things from other things. So would he love it or would he hate it? Would it have lack of aesthetics? Or would it allow people to live in that world of their own choosing and the android sex slave empire that he dreamed of and that he had tried to build in his own house? I tell you all of this to tell you a little bit about movies that are on the Church of Satan approved list. Originally shared by Blanche Barton with Anton LaVey's approval in the book The Church of Satan. Let's talk about these films. There's 97 movies on this list. I'm not going to do all 97. You probably think I will. I mean, after all, I just did like 7-minute intro, which is longer than some episodes have been. Let's talk about the 5,000 Fingers of Dr. T. That's one on the list.
It happens in an amazing castle with a tickle-em-to-death torture chamber and a 500-player piano with 480,000 keys. It's a musical merry-go-round sparkling with songs and dances, whirling you away to a new world of wonders.
Have a smoke. Have a cigar.
Don't mind if I do.
Something to eat. Something to drink.
Dr. T is sweet on Mrs. C. So is Mr. Z, the plumber, who fixes sinks and knows all the angles.
When the plumber Zabladowski has installed the last sink, I want him disintegrated. Atom by atom.
See the dangerous descent from the sky-high ladder. See the whammy duel between Dr. T and Mr. Z. See the eighth wonder of the cinema world, the startling, daring Wonderama in color by Technicolor.
This movie, probably more entertaining than anything you're going to see this year. The fact it exists and escaped into theaters for a very short time astounds me. After the success, they made an animated short. Gerald McBoing, Theodore Seuss Geisel, Dr. Seuss, submitted a 1,200-page script for this film, which was packed with themes of world dominance and oppression coming out of World War II. Nearly every frame of this movie looks like it escaped directly from the pages of his books. It tested horribly, which meant 9 of the musical numbers were cut from the film, never seen again. Subplots eliminated, new scenes were shot, existing scenes rearranged. The film that Seuss intended never will be seen. After all, people started walking out of the premiere 15 minutes in. Child star Tommy Rettig came to the event with Marilyn Monroe on his arm.
Hey, Sam. John Carradine from Haunted Hollywood. Figured I'd share this that LaVey wrote about Monroe and Mansfield. The difference between Marilyn's and Jane's approach to intellectual pursuits is that Marilyn carried big, heavy books around and hung out with brainy people to absorb their intellect, while Jane really had a thirst for knowledge. Jane was very proud of the fact that if she liked something enough, she would commit it to memory. At that time, the Satanic Bible was still in monograph form, and Jane had pored over those pages until she knew most of it by heart. Marilyn gave me a copy of Stendhal's On Love, and I still have a copy of Walter Benton's This Is My Beloved, which we bought together on Sunset Boulevard. Marilyn turned me on to it, wanted me to read it and write something in it for her. I got as far as writing her name in it, but I ended up with the book. It meant a lot to me during a particularly dark period in my life after I left L.A. Jane kept insisting I read the story of O and I, Jan Creamer. She gave me a dog-eared copy of each. It seems a distinctly feminine trait to want to share books with people they care deeply about.
Critics felt that the film lacked humor and enchantment. Guys will refer to the film as a debauculous fiasco and never even mentioned his autobiography. That said, he did say, Hollywood is not suited for me and I am not suited for it. That said, some people noticed. This is a cult movie now, and it's on the Church of Satan list. Young Bart Collins, the original star of Lassie, Tommy Rettig, who would go into star on the 1960 soap opera Never Too Young with Tony Dow, Leave It to Beaver star, is forced to take piano classes under the stern eye of Dr. Terwinkler, who's Henry Conried's Snidely Whiplash from Dudley Do-Right. After all, it makes his widowed mother, Heloise, happy. His only friend, if you can call him that, is their plumber, August Zabadowski, who is at their house way more often than a plumber should be. While Bart is struggling through his piano lessons, he dreams that he is prisoner number one inside the Terwinkler Institute, where the mad piano teacher has built a piano so large that it requires Bart and 499 other boys to play it, the quasi-literal 5,000 fingers of Dr. D. To make things worse, Bart's mom is now Dr. T's assistant and bride-to-be, and Arnold doesn't believe him any longer. By the end, they work together with all the other kids to destroy the giant piano and wake up Bart from his dream, where the plumber finally asks out the mother. Henry Kolke was once professional wrestler Bomber Kolkovich, appears as one of Dr. T's goons named Strugo. There's also Hollywood's Ugliest Man and Wallace Berry stand-in Harry Wilson, and the lead singer of the Letterman, Tony Batula, also the singing voice for Tommy Rettig in this movie. And of course, a cast of hundreds of kids all plinking away on a giant piano. According to Seuss, one of the kids got sick and vomited on the piano, which led to a chain reaction where nearly 150 kids all ralphed all over each other. He joked that it was similar to the film's reviews. I wish somebody filmed that, not because I have a vomit thing, but it sounds hilarious. This whole bit of madness is directed by Roy Rowland, who did Meet Me in Las Vegas, The Girl Hunters, and with many uncredited pieces of direction by producer Stanley Kramer, who did Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, and On the Beach. See this movie as soon as possible. Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye from 1950.
May I look at that gun, please?
I'll put up with a lot from you, but not another woman.
I still don't know what you're talking about. I can barely handle you.
Chief just gave me 48 hours to get you, dead or alive. Preferably dead.
Yes, it's James Cagney charging the screen with triple thrills as a man motivated by a driving force that takes him from one adventure to another. Cagney, recklessly challenging the hand that holds the gun, ruthless in the soft arms of a woman, knowing that when you live for the gamble of today, the excitement of tonight, you can kiss tomorrow goodbye.
The minute he walks into the picture, I was walking out.
Yeah, but now you can't.
That's right, but I can protect myself, even if it means throwing you to the wolves.
I want you. You're all I've ever wanted, and I'm not going to give you up.
We won't let him force you.
I don't force easily.
He could make you wish you'd never been born. I've seen him do it before to others.
Well, we'll worry about that when we come to it.
Now, what am I going to tell this guy?
Don't worry. I will take care of Romer. Any business that pays $50,000 a day is a very good business to be in. So if Romer should drop dead some afternoon, I'm leaving it all to you. You can have it.
I don't want it. I just want this 1 minute here with you.
Banned in Ohio because of the sordid, sadistic presentation of brutality and extreme presentation of crime with explicit steps in commission. The first $500,000 of this movie went to paying James Cagney's debts as the producer. In this, he's Ralph Cotter, mean enough man that he sacrifices his escape partner and then shacks up with the dead man's sister Holiday, played by Barbara Payton, and then blackmails her, all because she came up with the plan that got him out of the big house. But it seems like she likes it. Even when he whips her with a wet towel, she embraces him. It can't last, because as bad as Ralph is, the cops are worse. And when he falls for a wealthy woman named Margaret Dobson, played by Helena Carter, he casts aside Holiday, who just happens to figure out he's the one who killed her brother. Cagney was coming off the noir film White Heat, which just gets compared too often. I discovered not just from the COS list, because it's on the marquee of Messiah of Evil, when Tony decides to escape reality and go to the movies, and unfortunately bad things happen to her. We got two women out to play with our hero. This also has a church based on cosmic consciousness. The priest tells his congregation to bow their head and not pray. Director Gordon Douglas also made one of my favorite movies ever, Emily Flint and Them. The Leopard Man from 1943.
What sort of man would kill like a leopard and leave the traces of a leopard?
Crazy guy.
But he'd have to know about leopards, have access to leopard claws and hair.
We're not going to catch a train, darling. We're going to stay right here and catch a murderer.
Based on the book Black Alibi by Cornell Woolrich, The Leopard Man is one of the first movies that depict a serial killer. Written by Ardell Way and Edward Dean for producer Val Luton and directed by Jacques Tourneur. The master artist behind Cat People, I Walked with a Zombie, and Night of the Demon. Somewhere in New Mexico, nightclub owner Jerry Manning hires a black leopard as a publicity stunt for his girlfriend, Kiki Walker. She uses that giant cat to interrupt her rival, Clo-Clo, Margot, the wife of Eddie Albert, whose career was decimated by the blacklist. As she performs, Clo-Clo uses her castanets to scare the animal, which runs away into the night. A series of murders happens, all blamed on the leopard, but when its body is found, the hypothesis is that a human being may actually be the killer. This film may only be 66 minutes, but each moment is dark and dread. The beast waits for nearly everyone in the deep midnight of town, and even moments in the daylight are offset with reminders of how badly North America's indigenous people were treated by explorers. Critically savage when it came out. Well, it was re-released in 1952 with King Kong as Arco and needed another movie title that sounded like it could have a creature in it. And that's where it got its name. The Leopard Man appears as one of the movies on the COS list, and that's because one of Olivia's favorite things, big cats, are in this. It's also a movie where nearly every character is responsible for the murders, no matter their intentions, not just the one doing the actual killing. That's a pretty satanic note. Night of the Hunter. This is one, God, it's probably my favorite.
Ben never told you threw it in the river, did he?
I can hear you whispering, children, so I know you're down there. I can feel myself getting awful mad.
Here is all the passion and suspense, the heart-pounding warmth of the best-selling novel that gripped millions.
Well, wake up! Come on, Burl!
Superb, unforgettable performances by an extraordinary array of talent.
Figured I was gone, huh?
Run, hide in the staircase. Run quick! Ruby, shit! What do you want?
I want them kids.
I'm giving you to the count of 3 to get out of here, then I'm coming across the kitchen shooting you.
The combined powers of Paul Gregory and Charles Lawton brought the Caine Mutiny Court-Martial to Broadway. Now the screen receives that same creative, electrifying impact The Night of the Hunter.
Harry Powers was born in the Netherlands, but made his way to America in 1910 before settling in West Virginia. A year later, he met and married farm and feed store owner Willa Strother through a Lonely Hearts ad, but he didn't stop running those ads as he got 10 to 20 replies to his Love Letter classified a day. Police would later discover the bodies of several people who replied to those ads, like Asta Eichner, her 3 children, and Dorothy Lemke. A mob tried to kill Powers and had to be dispensed with fire hoses and tear gas. After a trial so large it had to be held in an opera house to contain all the spectators, he was hung. His story inspired both the book and the movie Night of the Hunter. In 1930s West Virginia, Reverend Harry Powell, Robert Mitchum, the best, Mitchum's amazing in this, is fleeing the scene of his latest murder. He's a self-anointed man of the cloth who preaches along the dirt roads in small town, a man who's both attracted to and hateful toward women. On his right hand, the word love, and on his left, hate. Symbols made for his sermons.
Ah, little lad, you're staring at my fingers. Would you like me to tell you the little story of right hand, left hand? The story of good and evil? H-A-T-E. It was with this left hand that old Brother Cain struck the blow that laid his brother low. L-O-V-E. You see these fingers, dear hearts? These fingers has veins that run straight to the soul of man. The right hand, friends, the hand of love. Now watch and I'll show you the story of life. These fingers, dear hearts, is always a warring and a tugging one against the other. Now watch 'em. Old brother left hand hates a fighting, and it looks like love's a goner. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hot dog loves a winning. Yes, sirree. It's love that won, and old left hand hate is down for the count.
Finally, in one small town, Powell is driving a stolen car while he watches a burlesque dancer, muttering to himself,
"There are too many of them. You can't kill a world."
Meanwhile, Ben Harper kills 2 men in a bank robbery and races home to hide the money inside his daughter's doll. He promises his children, John and Pearl, to keep it a secret, and his son is shocked by how the police beat his father into the ground. Ben and Reverend Harry share a jail cell where the evil creature tries to discover where the money is. He gets just enough info on Ben's family before he's free. Ben isn't that lucky. He's executed for his crimes as Reverend Harry goes free. Powell then appears in town to both woo and marry Harper's widow, Willa. Shelley Winters charms all the other town folks, except for John, who promised his father he'd never tell anyone where that money is. Instead of consummating his marriage to Willa, Powell tries to get her to be part of his preaching. However, she soon learns he's looking for the money, and he stabs and kills her, dumping her body in the river, while telling everyone else that she left him for a life of sin. Willa's drowned body is discovered by Bertie Steptoe, an elderly drunk who's sort of an uncle to John. He fears the town will blame him for the death, so he tells no one. Powell starts to hunt the children, and they flee in a raft down the river, only stopping for a moment to sleep in a barn. The shadow of the preacher and his singing reaches them inside the barn, and John exclaims,
"Don't never sleep."
By this point, the film has become a Germanist expression stage play-looking fairy tale. Children escape to the home of kindly Rachel Cooper, played by Lillian Gish, the first lady of American cinema, a hard-as-nail old woman who's one of the few purely good people in this film. She protects and raises orphans, keeping the kids safe from Powell even when he tries to seduce one of them. After an all-night standoff, the old man shoots and wounds the preacher, who hides in the barn until the police arrest him. As they take him to jail, it reminds John of the night his father was arrested. He beats the man with his sister's doll, screaming that he can keep the money. At the trial, even the preacher's staunchest defenders, like Icy Spoon, played by Evelyn Varden from The Bad Seed, becomes screaming drunks, seeking his doom. A lynch mob is gathered while the executioner smiles, saying he'll see them soon. Meanwhile, children have gathered for Christmas, finally safe. It echoes the dreamlike beginning of the film. It's a fairy tale. This is the only film directed by actor Charles Laughton. At the time of its original release, it was considered a critical and box office failure. Laughton never directed again. Mitchum, very eager to be in this film, and he auditioned. He impressed Laughton. He said he was looking for his character to be a diabolical bastard. Mitchum probably answered present. Mitchum later remarked that Laughton was his favorite director, and this was his favorite movie he was ever in. Laughton proclaimed Mitchum to be different from his public image, saying all this rough talk is a blind, He's a literate, gracious kind of man, with wonderful manners, and he speaks beautifully when he wants to. He's a tender man, a very great gentleman. He's really terribly shy. Sure, but on set, once producer Paul Gregory told the star that he was too drunk to be acting, he opened the door to Gregory's Cadillac and pissed all over the front seat. To Gregory, Mitchum pretty much was the character he was portraying. He was a charmer and evil son of a bitch with a lot of charm. Mitch sure scared me, to tell you the truth. He was always on guard. He was off in a state, and he never knew what he would do next. For example, during the filming of a Cannon movie. He threw a basketball, not during the filming, during the press conference for a Cannon movie, he threw a basketball at a reporter, breaking most of her face. Oh, Mitchum. Let's talk about Night Tide. That's our last movie for this episode. I urge you to check all these out, but
boundless power ties these two together in a love tainted by strange, sinister terror. The siren song of the sea, pulsating like a bongo beat, calling, driving the sea people.
You saw how she looked at me, how she spoke to me. She's one of them. She's one of the sea people, and Johnny, I'm so afraid.
You're a stranger here, and I guess you don't know what everybody here knows.
Ellen, dear.
In the past 2 years, Morris had 2 boyfriends, and they're both dead now.
This is written and directed by Curtis Harrington, one of the leaders of the new queer cinema. Also directed Queen of Blood, What's the Matter with Helen, Who's Slew Annie Rue, Ruby, so many more. Harrington also shot a documentary about one of its stars, Marjorie Cameron, the Wormwood Star. And I'll forgive you if you have no idea who she is. She was many things: artist, poet, actress, and most essentially an occultist, the follower of Crowley. She was married to rocket pioneer and nexus point of all things 20th century occult, Jack Parsons. In fact, Parsons believed he had conjured her to be the Whore of Babylon, or a Thelemite goddess Babylon as part of his Babylon working rate, which he conducted in the desert along with L. Ron Hubbard. It may have also opened our world to the aliens that observed us since Kenneth Arnold reported them in 1947, very close to the same time. After she attempted to kill herself, being institutionalized, Cameron gathered a group of magic practitioners around herself called the Children, and she started 6 magic rituals to create a moonchild. Not pregnant with what she referred to as the Wormwood Star, that ended in miscarriage. Many of the children soon left as her proclamations of the future grew increasingly into the world. Cameron's orbit, much like her husband's, unite the world of art and the occult. She straddles appearing in the films of Kenneth Anger, working with UFO expert and contactee George Owen Tassel, and appearing in Wallace Bellman's art journey, Samina. Why do I tell you all this? Because she's in Night Tide. Johnny Drake is Dennis Hopper, a young sailor in shore leave who meets Maura, a woman who makes her living appearing in a sideshow. They fall in love before he learns her past boyfriends have all drowned. That may or may not be because Maura's a siren, a legendary creature who exists to lure men to their deaths. Adding to the suspicions is the mystery woman who calls to her and demands that she follow her destiny. There's Marjorie Cameron. One evening under a full moon, she invites Johnny deep-sea swimming, but she cuts his hose, forcing him to surface so that she isn't tempted to kill him. She then swims into the depths of the ocean, fulfilling the call of the mystery woman. And when he returns to the boardwalk, her dead body is still in the mermaid sideshow. Now there for visitors to look at her dead eyes as she's been stuffed. Despite a police confession as to who the killer is, the strange woman in black, and her call to the sea is never explained. Anton Novay discusses film of Blanche Barton and The Secret Life of a Satanist, the authorized biography of Anton Sanzaro LaVey. There's a whole genre of films that are just a little evocative, low-budget gems that I certainly wouldn't call schlock, but that are also being revived as a consequence of more attention in those directions. Director Curtis Harrington's first movie, Night Tide, filmed around the Santa Monica Pier in Venice, California in the 1950s, is a psychologically intricate story about a young sailor but falls in love with a mermaid. It's just wonderful to see these precious works of art finally begin the attention they merit. According to Spencer Constance Wormwood's Star, The Magical Life of Marjorie Cameron, Kenneth Anger introduced Cameron LeVay, who was delighted to meet the actress, being a big fan of this film. Anyways, there's a whole bunch of movies.